As I predicted back in my first video of the year, OCC, the 55k race at UTMB, is shaping up to be the most interesting race of the week, thanks in no small part to the World Championships coming up in September, and therefore some of the world's top athletes are skipping UTMB altogether or dropping down in distance. You then throw in some of the world's best sub-ultra and 50k runners, and you've got a stacked yet diverse start line which you won't see anywhere else this year. Now, I don't follow the sub-ultra and 50k racing scene as closely as the longer stuff, so I'm probably going to favour some of the guys I know a little bit better in this preview, so apologies in advance if I've missed your favourite runner. Please let me know in the comments below who I've missed, as well as your picks for the win. Oh, and subscribe while you're down there so you don't miss my previews of the other UTMB races. Let's jump into it. Okay, so I'm not going to bang on about Jim's accolades, as I doubt anyone watching this is unfamiliar with him. Plus, he's had an injury-ravaged year, is clearly focused on being fit for the World Championships, hence the reason for dropping down from the full UTMB, so I'm not 100% sure we'll see him line up. If he does, it will be amazing to follow though, with one of the best 100-mile runners on the planet taking on the best 50k guys, of which Jim was one 10 years ago, but we haven't really seen him take on any super competitive shorter ultras since maybe Lake Sonoma 50 mile in 2018, or Speedgoat 50k in 2017, so I'm really interested to see how he stacks up here. The same could be said of Adam Peterman, who recently slogged out a 23-hour finish at Western States after his attempt to become a two-time Western States winner derailed. Adam has mostly stuck to the 100k and above distances since his epic rise to the top of the sport in 2022. But in 2022 and 2021, he was unstoppable over the 50k distance. And like with Jim, it'll be so fun to see if he's still got the turnover to compete with the guys who specialise in this event. With both Adam and Jim focused on the World Championships, I do wonder if they are just here to keep sponsors happy though, especially both being Hoka athletes, the title sponsors of UTMB. What does that mean for the racing? I'm not sure. Maybe they won't be as prepared to dig as deep as those who've built their entire year around this race, but they are both fierce competitors, so I don't think they're there for a social jog. Hannes Namberger is also dropping down in distance after recently finishing 11th at Western States. He's a multiple-time UTMB top 10 finisher, so has plenty of experience on this course, but doesn't seem to have much recent experience in competitive 50k races. And with Western States in his legs, I'm really not sure if he can hang with the top 50k and sub-ultra runners towing the line. You've also got Joaquin Lopez, who finished third at last year's UTMB, and then won the Mount Fuji 100 mile earlier this year. I don't know much about Joaquin, and he obviously flew under the radar last year at UTMB, as I don't think many people picked him for a podium finish. His resume tells me that he mostly sticks to races longer than 100k, so I have even less of a clue how he'll do here, but one to keep an eye on for sure. Petter Engdahl is the last on my list of notable runners dropping down, and he's possibly the pick of the bunch, as the CCC course record holder knows how to run this course fast, and he hasn't raced anything long this year, instead focusing on the 50k races with similar terrain, taking a few wins and an 8th place at the super competitive Mont Blanc Marathon. He's previously raced the short course at the World Championships, and I'm sure he'll be targeting that again in September. I'm just struggling to find confirmation of the Swedish team, but even with that on the horizon, he's clearly targeting this race more than the guys I've already mentioned, and I think he'll do well. Then you've got some of the top returning finishers from the last year. There's 3rd place Antonio Martinez Perez, 4th place Zhuai Zi, and 6th place Chris Jones, who is the athlete I'm most interested in following this year. Chris has earned Team GB vests in orienteering, track, cross country and now trail, and has towed the line with the likes of Sir Mo Farah at the British 10,000 metre trials, boasting a 28.23 10k PB and a 13.45 5k. He's also unbeaten since OCC last year and won races at both of the UTMB events here in the UK this year. I think he's due a breakout performance on the world stage and has the potential to be up there for years to come, with the likes of Tom Evans and John Albon as the best British trail runners out there. Rounding out my men to watch, you've got some of the guys you might be familiar with if you've followed the Golden Trail series over the last 7 or 8 years. Davide Magnini, Ray Ueda and Roberto Di Lorenzi. And quickly for my American audience, if you want a dark horse to root for, keep your eye on Cade Michael. I think he's another one due a big breakout following some really solid results over in the States. On the women's side, there's not as many dropping down in distance, but 2 notable names doing the Western States OCC double are Hannah Allgood and Shea Aquilano. Hannah finishing 7th at Western States, and Shea unfortunately dropping out of the top 10 in the latter stages, finishing 16th. Hannah has far more experience racing the shorter distances than Shay and won the competitive Canyons 50k a few months ago. But as I said earlier in the video, I think they might also just be here to keep sponsors happy, having both signed contracts with Adidas and Nike earlier this year. And with states in the legs, probably won't be trouble in the women who've been targeting this one all year. It'll be interesting to see how they go though. Then you've got the returning top finishers from last year, including winner Miao Yao, 2nd place Judith Wider, 4th place Sarah Alonso, and 7th place Camilla Magliano, all of which finished 12 minutes of each other and are perfectly capable of closing that gap on their best day. Sarah Alonso in particular is on an absolute heater of a year, undefeated in the 50k category since last year's OCC, including taking the win at the prestigious Sagama earlier this year. And finally, some of the best sub-ultra runners in the world, such as 2-time Sierra Zinal champion Joylene Chepneno, Golden Trail Series 2023 champion and Sierra Zinal winner Sophia Lockley, and the legend that is Maud Mathis, who is a 4-time Sierra Zinal winner, Golden Trail Series champion, and has won or podiumed at pretty much every notable sub-ultra race on the calendar, such as the Mont Blanc Marathon, Pikes Peak Marathon, and Zagama. I also mentioned Judith Wider in amongst the returning finishers, who is also a former Golden Trail Series champion. A few other names to keep an eye on, and I could just read through the start list, there's that many big names here. But a few I'll be following are Bailey Kowalczyk, Jasmine Laufer, and Ferez Lebouf. And a quick shout out to British athlete who is listed in the elite field, but probably won't be trouble in the top 10, Victoria Stansfield, who I tried hanging on to at a hilly park run a couple of years ago and got absolutely worked. I'll be following her with interest for sure, and I hope she has a great race. That's it for the preview. As for my picks, I'll just do the podiums as I'm not completely confident at all with this one. I'm going Petter Engdahl for the win, Chris Jones 2nd and Antonio Martinez Perez, or Jim Walmsley 3rd if he starts. But I just have a feeling he might skip this one altogether. On the women's side, Sophia Lockley to take the win, Sarah Alonso in 2nd and Miao Yao in 3rd. I hope you enjoyed this one. Remember to subscribe. I'll be back soon with more ultra running content. Cheers.